The best thing about Grizedale Forest is that there's a Go Ape there, and that's really fun. Go Ape is like a treetop adventure where you're swinging and messing around and flying through the trees, and it's really fun. Very high adrenaline and just high rush. So exciting.
Big finish of dreams.
First you have to set up to get onto the zip wire, and you have to put a pulley on and then link your two safety lines onto the zip wire, and then off you go. For me personally, it's not that scary, but it just depends how you feel about heights. The scariest thing would quite possibly be for people who, on the treetop adventure, when they come to a part where you've got to decide whether you take the extreme route or the easy route. There is a Tarzan swing where you drop like a couple of feet and it's really unexpected, so that's quite scary. The zip wire is very high and you have such a good view across Grizedale Forest, it's just incredible. On the zip wire I got caught twice, not once but twice, just hanging there, high above the ground. Or for me it's kind of cool just feeling like a bit different, if anything, because obviously being so high is so different to what we're used to as humans, so that's what I like about it.
I think my first impressions of Go Ape were that everybody was really excited to be there. There were actually more adults there than children, which surprised me. I thought there'd be a lot of the younger generation, but no, it was all people my age and above, so obviously it appeals to everybody. I think it was just a big sense of adventure, definitely, but then there were loads of staff on site and lots of, the harnesses, that's the first thing you saw, so I think you felt really safe as well from the first minute you got there. We had a very thorough training on all the safety before we went on. We had that clipped into our harnesses, and then we had all different safety lines, and we had a very thorough teaching of, you're always clipped on with at least one line. There were two lines, you had a pulley, and yeah, it was over and over. It was, very exhaustive, should we say. You felt very safe. I think Go Ape's got a lot of educational benefits. I can really see it as a sort of work team building exercise. I think you really need the support of each other to get across the obstacles and things, and definitely some bit of enthusiasm from each other. I think it also gets a lot of children out into nature, into the woods and things, which is probably missing from maybe quite a lot of children nowadays. I think possibly with children, I think sometimes it seems to be very protected nowadays, especially in school and playgrounds and things. It doesn't seem quite as liberal as when we were younger, and you could just play all sorts of games and be running around and messing around. So possibly, some children might not have experienced something like that, just the climbing the trees and the big climbing frames and things. It was a little bit scary, the Go Ape. It was a lot of fun, but it was quite scary. So I think that's probably good for a lot of children. They may not have had that experience before. Well, obviously I was looking after Josh. I was a little bit concerned, I'll be honest, I was a bit concerned about looking after myself while doing. You have to clip yourself on and things, but Josh was fabulous. He was more on top of the safety regulations than I was, reminding me to clip in, and he was just great. That there was no worries there at all. I think he would have been absolutely fine on his own, to be honest. I think for the experience you got out of it, and we were there for quite a length of time. We were up in the trees for over an hour. I say it was great value for money. You're trained very well at the beginning. There's a lot of staff on site who are watching over you all the time and training you up and keeping an eye on you. So I think it's great value for money, actually.
Go Ape is an adventure park that you do in trees, and so you have to work to get across the things to the obstacles to the other side. And it's just really fun trying to see whether you can do it. There is one bit that was quite hard, because there was like ropes and crosses, but they kept swinging about. They were like that, and then there's ropes on each side. Sometimes they were like diagonal, but for me, I couldn't like step across from one edge to the other. I wanted to do it again, but because first we tried the easy way twice to make sure that I could probably do it, and then we went for the harder one, and we only did that once. But if I could do that one again, then I might feel a bit better about it. If I was doing the easy course, then I probably could have done it on my own. But because I was with Dad, some obstacles felt a bit weird because Dad was on it and it kept wobbling when I tried to go on. But then I asked Dad if I could go first.
My impression of Go Ape is that it's a very well set up and very well run centre. I believe there are lots of activity centres around the country, but the one we went to was Grizedale Forest. And I was very impressed with it right from the start. From booking in on the internet to the arrangements, making sure we'd bring the right equipment with us, to the original signing up forms. It was very clear whether we were in the older age group or for those younger people that visiting. We had a couple that went on the adult course, which is my older son and friend, and we also had myself, who I went to accompany my younger son on the junior course. Once we were strapped on there was no real way of us actually becoming unstrapped until we actually finished the course, which I felt the way that the setup and the way that they got the rails worked was very complicated, but it allowed us to do an awful lot of different things without ever compromising our safety. What I found very interesting was watching the way that my youngest son Sam managed to cope and change perhaps over the way of our junior course, and the very fact that the second time we did the first section twice, and it was clear to see that he'd gained a lot of confidence from going round onto the second time, which was really good because that helped him overcome quite a lot of perhaps fear. And then we went up to a higher section, and some of the obstacles and bridges that we had to cross again posed new challenges. Again, it was interesting to see that once we'd done 2 or 3 of these things, that again the confidence was developing. So I think from a confidence point of view, and also realising that perhaps a belief that you could actually get over and cope with those obstacles was really good. It was good from the fact that we could both encourage each other along as well and help, so it was good for a little bit of a team bonding or a father and son bonding thing, I suppose.
When I finished it, I was a bit annoyed because I wanted to do it again. I wanted it to last longer, and that was kind of disappointing. That was the only bad thing. I'd definitely do it again. I'd advise other people to do it if they really like it, if they really like heights.
And the other day, he thinks it's a monkey. Now he's finding out it's not.